If you are an independent member, you have to be able to remain in this chamber, in Parliament, as independent member.
We understand now their new standing orders have taken care of that.
Okay.
Now, let's now go to this. You had hinted that somebody was disobeying the Supreme Court's orders. Is anybody disobeying the Supreme Court's orders?
To the extent that the NDC goes to sit in the majority position, if the standing orders now make provision for where they should sit, then in my opinion they are.
If the standing orders or the Supreme Court's decision says these 4 seats that you say have been vacated are not presently, your vacation has been suspended.
Samson, the Supreme Court decision to suspend the Speaker's order is a restoration of the majority-minority position until the Supreme Court now looks at the substantive matter before.
That's right.
How is this manifest in Parliament? It's manifest in Parliament by having a majority leader, a minority leader, and then where they sit. That is why I say that, in my opinion, it is a violation of the Supreme Court.
Does the manifestation of it include where they sit? If the Supreme Court's ruling has suspended the Speaker's announcement, he calls it an announcement, he doesn't want to call it a ruling, because the standing order says he should inform the House. He simply gave information to the House. If the Supreme Court's decision has suspended that for now, pending the final determination, do you need to sit at a particular place to obey the ruling?
Samson, I started out by saying that I don't think that where they sit is even regulated by any law. It's a convention. That was my understanding. You've pointed out to me that the current standing orders has it there. Without that, then you could sit anywhere. They could even intermingle, mix, and then it will still be majority, minority when it comes to voting and taking decisions. But if they are designated places, that is where I'm coming from. And the designation is supported by the standing orders based on who is majority, who is minority. That if you are doing something to dispute who is the majority, then you are disobeying the Supreme Court decision.
You who? The MPs?
The MPs. The MPs.
The MPs are not party to the suit. It is the Speaker who is party to the suit.
You and I know you don't have to be party to a suit to be...
I'm asking you to
taking on for doing something which would challenge the decision of the court. Let me just put it that way. Since you see, we are talking to the generality of the public. You don't have to be a party to a suit to do something to challenge the decision in a suit.
The orders were directed at who?
The orders were directed at the Speaker suspending his decision.
So who is supposed to act? Is it the Speaker or the MPs? If the orders were directed at the Speaker as the defendant, he's the first defendant.
Yes.
The Attorney General is second defendant. If the orders were directed at the Speaker, who is supposed to act on the orders?
The Speaker.
The Speaker?
Yes.
So why will any person other than the Speaker be guilty of disobeying the orders?
The Speaker is to act on it by suspending the orders that he has made, not implementing them, and then ensuring he's in charge of order and discipline in the House.
Right. Ensuring
that effect is given to it. Ensure that effect is given to the Supreme Court order. For instance, if any of the 4 MPs should walk into the chamber, it will be his responsibility to ensure that the marshals or nobody stops them. If the marshals go to stop them without his intervention, without his knowledge, it's outside his knowledge. But if they do it with his knowledge or even, let's say, his blessing, he hasn't stopped them.
So do you agree with Afenyo Making when he says the Speaker may actually be said to be disobeying the orders of the court? He says the Speaker cannot be said to be disobeying the orders of the court in the circumstances, because the Speaker says
I agree with him.
It is not his job
I've read
to determine where anybody sits.
I've read what Afenyo Marcus said, Honorable Afenyo Marcus, and I agree to a large extent with what he says. Speaker, as I just said, Speaker has not stopped the 4 people from coming to Parliament. So he cannot be said to be in contempt of the order. He has done nothing to show an unwillingness to obey the order. He has actually even gone to court to attempt, or he went to court to attempt to get the court to vacate the orders, which is an acceptance, a recognition that those orders have been made. Otherwise, he could simply have said, I don't see those orders. So to that extent, you cannot say he's in contempt of the Supreme Court. Why I'm stretching this to, and I'm using the word stretch deliberately, is that if you see that some people who I am saying you should have control over by virtue of your being Speaker are doing what they are doing to disobey or to make it impossible for the Supreme Court's decision to be enforced, you are party to it.
The Supreme Court's decision